Boy, howdy. This is Shane Emerst here. You may remember me from many things such as, the Zero to Hero series, all that fun stuff. Anyway, we're going to be talking about today about the Knuckles controllers. Some people call them my Knuckies. Some people call them Valve Index controllers, but who does that? Let's be honest. And they're pretty interesting. I'll show you a little bit about them right now. They work pretty well. I'm grabbing things in front of me that I don't want to grab. Essentially, for those who don't know what the Knuckles are, or the Valve Index controllers, they're handheld devices. They have sensors in them which are supposed to gather data on where your fingers are, and then do their best to represent them in the games that you're playing or the experiences that you're making, right? That gives you a little bit more freedom to do what you will with your fingers, which brings, especially in social VR, to a much higher plane, if you will. That's how they work in game, and this came in with no configuration. So you literally connect them, pair them, get into game, and they're going to work just like this, give or take. You might need some time with them to make the fingers work, correctly and stuff. Because as you can see, I'm still kind of in that phase of training the controllers. The controllers apparently have this chip in them where they can actually learn the position of your hands over time, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go into a little bit of the advanced configuration settings for these things. So give me a second to just set that up real quick. The hard part with these controllers is that you're occupying, all the time there's something occupying your hands. So if you want to type on the keyboard, typing on the keyboard might be not that bad, but using a mouse and stuff like that, really increased difficulty, maybe a learning curve associated with that. So let me just do this Alt Tab real quick. So here's my headset feed, and when I go into the Steam menu, all right, so now we're in the Steam menu, and inside the Steam menu you can see the Knuckles controllers. You can see that they have a B and an A button. You have the Steam VR command button here. You have this scroll wheel, which is not really a scroll wheel, it's a touchpad, but it acts as a scroll wheel, as you can see. We got this rotator dial that you find on gamepads and such. And then you have the touch instrumentation and a trigger. And the same exact thing on the other side, which gives them perfect symmetry and really good to customize stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize the VRChat's controller settings, mostly because in VRChat they have the push of this little guy here, this push, as jump, and that gets really annoying really fast, especially when you're trying to move around and you're accidentally jumping. When they have this perfectly fine A button that's literally being unused. They have another perfectly fine A button that's being unused on this side, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some editing. Just so you know, B button is to bring up your menu in-game. Left joystick to control forward and back, left, right, and then the right joystick to control turning, just like in the old version. Right, left, right, left. And you got all these for your fingers. So you rest your finger on this trigger here, your index finger, and then the other fingers are on this little plane here. So when you put your fingers on it, it grabs. So here's me lifting off of the trigger and putting it back down. And then you can do it for all your fingers, give or take, depending on the quality of your fingers, I suppose. It'll get better as it learns. And the thumb is special. As you can see, it's kind of bad in VRChat right now, but you have one position for thumb, and then you also have another position for your thumb. Do you have a third? No. And the difference between these two are, this is one position for the thumb, and this B button is another position for the thumb. So when you rest it on the B button, it puts it in one spot, and if you rest it on the pad, it puts it in another spot. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to make it really interesting in VR, but I suppose I need to do more research on this part. But anyway, changing settings on these guys. If we go into the settings button on the top right and go to VR settings here in Steam VR, we go down to controller binding and choose VRChat. I created a binding. I'm not going to share this, but I could. I might share it. You might be able to find me and you'll be able to take a look at it. But generally, it has some really small edits. And for those who don't know how to do this I'm about to teach you. It's really not that difficult. Use the scroll wheel on your index to go down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the A button here a mute button. And that's good for, who wants to pull up their menu and hit mute every time? Like it's also like it kind of gets in the way of the game when you can just use the A button. So you go into here, scroll down, find the A button, and you can use this button. And if you push edit, you can choose the click. Don't choose the touch, because if you touch it, it'll always, they're capacitive buttons or sensor buttons. I don't know the exact terminology, but if you just graze your finger over it, it's going to turn it off. So what you want to do is have to click it, and you have a whole bunch of different things that you can choose in this options menu, like huge amounts of really ridiculous things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this one to do mic toggle. And if I go over to here, as you can see, it's already scrolled down for me because they scroll down in pairs, it seems, which is, I guess, useful. On this A button, I chose jump. So now when I push the A button, I jump. And when I push the A button over here, boom. So you can just start talking, and then when you're like, oh, I have to go do something, boom, then you can walk away. It's super convenient. Yeah, so that's that. And it's also, I wish I had an object. If I had an object, I wonder if there's any objects in this world, because grabbing objects with the default configuration is, you're used to using the trigger, right? The trigger, which is my index fingers at the moment. Let me get a little bit closer so you guys can see a little bit better. Zoop. There we go. So you're used to using the trigger fingers, and I'm doing it all the time, and it's really ridiculous because you don't use those anymore. You use your palms. So you're literally pressing it with everything but the triggers, essentially, to pick things up. So I have a camera. I have the camera right here, and you got to grab, and then it's literally grabbing. So it's a lot different than what it's a lot different than what you're used to, which is really cool, and it's actually kind of fun. I think I'm going to get used to these in overnight tonight when I'm getting drunk on a VR with my friends. But it's different. It works really well most of the time. I'm going to just do this real quick. Let me see. Works really well most of the time. It's having a hard time with my ring finger, but it'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, I would really suggest these because they're really fun. And it's a different take, especially on the old HTC Vive wands. The wands have nothing on these guys. Like, if you have the spare $250 or whatever, like, definitely get these babies on pre-order because they're really cool. My only concern is the strap and how long that's going to last. It's a really good stretchy, like the stretchy ropes. It seems like it's going to hold for a long time, but as I know with other stretchy ropes that are used in a clamp-like fashion to keep things taut, where it usually clamps on the stretchy rope, it starts to wear down and stuff like that. So I'm concerned that it's not going to last as long as we want it to last. So we're going to see how long that lasts over the long term, because I've heard that the dev units broke pretty easily. So hopefully that's not going to be the case, and we're all going to be good. Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to show that I didn't, the button where you move around, if you click on it, it triggers a gesture state. And as you can see, I have the gesture state on because when I have my hands open, I close my eyes and smile a little bit. And you can go to another gesture state to turn that off. So for my peace sign, I have like a winky face going on. So that you have a button press to trigger your gestures, which I guess is cool. I guess it's kind of distracting. Actually, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but you can turn that on and off with the toggle. And I also don't like the fact that it's on the button, like the button that you move around on. So it's guaranteed that you're going to push it and move a little bit accidentally, just like I did right there. Kind of annoying. Hopefully VRChat can do something about that and make it a little bit more a better quality experience. these things are cool. I like them. They're going to be cool. They're going to get better as time goes on, and I really don't think that VRChat has completed the transition into these controllers yet, and I hope they complete it soon, because they need just a little bit of polish to make them really good. So anyway, I've been rambling. This is pretty much a ramble video about these cool things. So this is Shane Emerst here. Thank you very much for listening to me talk. You're very kind. And hopefully next time we're going to have a really cool video on hopefully awesome new things. Hopefully the IK is even better than this version. It's a little bit better. I think it could be better than it is. But anyway, that's for another video. So thanks a lot. This is Shane Emerst here. Like and subscribe. You guys are already watching me, so you probably already are. So all right, very good. Have a good weekend. Oh, everything's over here. Okay.